Welcome to the Develop Yourself podcast, where we teach you everything you need to land your first job as a software developer by learning to develop yourself, your skills, your network, and more. I'm Brian, your host. Today, I'll be speaking with Harley Ferguson, CEO of Origin Software and a pretty prolific content writer online. Harley has over 60,000 followers on LinkedIn, author of 101 Tips for Becoming a Better Developer, and he offers a lot of practical advice for developers earlier in their career. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Brian, and thanks for the breakdown there. You make me sound better than I think I am, but I appreciate that. If I ever need that, like a proper intro done, I'll just hire your voice to do it for me.
Oh yeah, don't. You can hire me. What's one of those apps that people use? I think to do that, where they can get an intro or something like that. Yeah. I'm available for anybody out there that wants to do it. But I mean it all. I mean, here's a lesser known fact about Harley. You're 7 feet tall. Is that correct?
I am 7 feet tall. So yes, if you look at, I think by default, look, I'm based in South Africa, so we're on the metric system, so we're dealing with meters more often than feet. Mm-hmm. But if you look at your nearest door frame, the legal door frame, I think has to be like 6'9" or 6'10". The standard door frame, I have to actually duck through most of the time. So yeah, if you want a visual on what a 7 foot person looks like, that is the process, like the easiest process to go about it.
And so Harley, who could have been in the NBA or playing sports, decided instead to go the route of software. And today I'm particularly interested in talking to you about audience building, because you're one of the people that I've met on LinkedIn, and I've seen you have a pretty meteoric rise. It was really fast. You pump out a lot of really great content in addition to running your own business. And I know that a lot of people that are listening to this, they know that they should learn in public. But one of the biggest issues they have is, what do I write? How do I get traction? How do people follow me? So whether you want to be a content creator or you just want to gain some traction and visibility and validation from writing online, it's tough. And it seems like you have gotten down a bit of a formula for that, which I'm personally interested in knowing more about. But before we get into any of that, I have to know this, because I ask everybody that comes on the show, what got you into coding?
It's somewhat two parts. The second part is the more generic. I always love computers. I mean, I'm 28 years old, so I kind of came into the world at a time where personal computers were becoming a bit more popular. And maybe if you were like a middle class household, you would have a computer in the house, and it was super exciting. So I think that really piqued my initial interest. But obviously I had no idea growing up of what the software developer was, or what context that meant. I just enjoyed computers. But I've got two older sisters, but actually quite a gap, by 10 and 13 years. And my oldest sister, she married her husband when I was 9 or 10. And then obviously started spending a lot of time with him and figured out what he did. And now he is a software developer, still is to this day. And now you're an influential kind of young teen, and you see this guy, he gets to sit in front of a computer all day with headphones. It looks like he's doing cool things. He's got like a nice house and a nice car, and you go, okay, cool. This seems great. It's kind of, it felt like a
sold.
Yeah, basically sold the desires of what I wanted. Of I want to work with computers, and then I found an environment in which that would actually be able to be done. So I think that's what kind of got me into it. And then with him, he gave me I don't know how many newer developers will know about it, but the old O'Reilly books. Brian, do you know the O'Reilly books?
Oh, absolutely. I think I have some behind me in my background, actually.
Yes. Totally. They were super prolific, I think maybe a bit more 10 years ago. But obviously the mediums have changed now. But yes, he gave me old O'Reilly books about Python and all those sorts of things. I was a young teen kind of messing around, writing my first scripts, that hello world examples, the calculator examples, basic algorithms. And that's really just got me hooked, because I've always loved creating, but also specifically problem solving. And that's all really that software is, if you boil it down to kind of the core of what it is. We're just problem solvers, and we have a specific toolbox that we kind of draw from.
Oh, yeah. I get that rush that I talk about on the show, and that all developers know. When you solve a problem and you figure out some puzzle, something that's been bugging you, it gives you that feeling that is hard to describe to non-developers. But I have to imagine it's like the feeling when you finally get like a puzzle done or something like that. That's what it feels like you get paid to do with code for a living.
I've always described it as inverse Jenga. And what I mean by that is Jenga is a game that nobody is losing until someone loses, right? It's like there's just tension building, and it will go from
Hmm.
0 to 100 as soon as someone makes a mistake. Software is just
Yep.
the inverse of that, in that it doesn't work until it does. And that when it does, that's when you go, that's that moment in Jenga where you realize you've won or you've lost or something like that, right? But that's what I feel software is. It's just the inverse of actually it's already broken and scattered, and now you're rebuilding the pieces.
Hmm.
And that's the feeling you kind of get when you actually figure something out, so you solve that problem.
Oh man, I'm stealing that. That's a great mental model for
Go
it.
for it. Go for
And
it.
hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode. And if you're interested in becoming a software developer, learning how to build complex software, and actually get hired, join me at Parsity.io. By the way, people that are listening to this, they probably hear that this guy's a CEO. He was writing codes since he was a kid, and you're still making mistakes and learning even at your level,
Every day.
right? I mean,
Every day.
I know you are, but I think a lot of people think, oh, you probably got it figured out, right?
No, I do not pretend to have anything figured out. And I think anybody that does is either lying to themselves or lying to you or both. I think the software developer industry demands, at least of those that want to excel and want to do well and want to grow fast, demands you to have that of a growth mindset.
We talked about content creation, which is something I'm super interested in. We have a program called Dev 30 for Parsity. It's where we teach people JavaScript basics over 30 days. During this time, we also encourage them to write on LinkedIn.
Mm.
And I'll be honest, most start off strong, they kind of fall off. And this is true of most people that want to begin like building their brand on LinkedIn. You've done exceptionally well at this. What led you to start writing on LinkedIn in the first place?
It was the end of 2021, essentially a
Okay.
couple months after starting Origin. I realized that, a lot of people had spoken about it, but it didn't kind of hit me that we are out of the gig economy and we are in the audience economy. We truly are,
Mm.
and that the train has not left the station. That it's not too late for you to get on any of these trains. So I spent about 6 months building up the courage and thinking of a sustainable system of how I could go about posting, because I knew that the number one thing anybody says is be consistent, right?
Yep.
So I was like, okay, before I do this, it's my own approach, my own kind of mental model is that I need to have a system in place that is predictable and I
Mhm.
can get the most bang for my buck without having to think too much about specific things. I can just sit down and produce content. Whereas if somebody's sitting down every single day and trying to write a new piece of content, that's when they're going to fail, right? So
Oh yeah, for sure.
that's when they're going to really struggle. So I created a system for myself, and I knew that building an audience is the most valuable thing that you can do in, I think, right now, regardless of anything else. You can go and build a business and sell it for 10 million. Fantastic. But if you can build a business, sell it for 1 million, and you have 10, 15, 30,000 people following you on platforms, you will make far more money teaching those other people and sharing the advice that you gave while also helping a bunch of other people and then growing your audience even further. So it's a long-term, think of it like the ultimate retirement plan, is that you just put in and it's going to keep growing. It'll
Yep.
never, unless you do something crazy, it's never going to drop down, right? And I made that realization and I thought, I've always loved content creation, specifically videography and cinematography,
Oh,
but also just
okay.
general storytelling. I've always been fascinated by
Hmm.
how to tell a good story, and I did public speaking in school, so I think that kind of linked itself, that you can find trends or patterns within a speech or within a piece of content that you can go, oh, I can see what they're doing there, and it's working.
That's
I don't want anybody in the audience to think, oh, I must have done public speaking in school. I must have studied, content copying or anything like that. Just go to
mm-hmm.
start and you will get better over time. But I spent basically the first half of 2022 just creating that system and studying as much as possible around how to write good copy and what good copy looks like. And I lucked out. Every time I tell the story, people freak out. The first post I made got over 100,000, got over 1,000 likes and 250,000 impressions.
Holy moly! Did you
So
know that was going to happen?
I
Or
had
were you like
no
feeling,
idea.
yeah, this is going to be a hit?
No, I
Okay.
made the post. I was like, cool, this is the first one I've made in the kind of the list. I sent it out. I went to dinner with
Jeez.
my fiance at the time, before we got married, and I always had notifications turned off for any social media. I checked LinkedIn. I had gone from like 500 because I had connections, which turned into followers when I kind of did the
Yep.
toggle. Got from
Hmm.
500 to, I think, like 1,500. I grew by 1,000 kind of in a couple hours. And
Wow.
it was at like
Wow.
500 engagements and 100,000 likes, maybe 6 hours after I posted it. And then every time I refreshed, it was like another 1,000 more impressions or something. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
So then
That's
I was like,
nuts.
oh, this
Yeah.
is super easy. um, and then you post something the next day and it gets 10
Nothing.
likes. And you're like,
Crickets.
what the heck
Yeah.
is
Right.
going on? Um, I've done so much A to B testing. Like I've made the exact same post at the exact same time, at the exact same day of the week, just 3 months apart.
Hmm.
And the one, does 300,000 impressions. The other one does 30. Um, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
It's luck of the
It's
draw.
weird,
That's
isn't
why they
it?
speak about consistency. There is no
Hmm.
uh, there's a certain level of predictability once you've done it as long as I think you and I have, that you can go, okay, cool. I have kind of a gut feeling of where this will be within certain bands. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's how I started out. I made that post, I saw it, and I was just hooked to the process and the messages of people saying this was so valuable for me, or thank you for this. Like that just meant so much. Um, I remember the first subscriber I had to my newsletter, and I just freaked out. The imposter syndrome goes, "Oh, somebody actually wants to hear what I have to
Yeah.
say."
Right.
Um, that
Oh
was
yeah.
that was really really cool. And then from there, it was just be consistent. I'll admit, this year I haven't been as focused on exploring the other kind of avenues as much as I wanted to. But that's why I said the past
Hmm.
couple months has been a big focus. I mean, I did go on honeymoon this year, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to spend too much time focusing on any work or content stuff during that time. Um,
Good
and
call.
yeah, good call. But now across Origin and my personal, just have a bunch of new approaches to extend both messages as far as possible with as many different channels and a different mediums of how people consume content. Some people listen, some people watch, some people read short form, some people read longer. Um, so I
Yep.
got a bunch of cool approaches, kind of have a team member helping me out with that, just to manage the logistics of all of that. Um, and it's so, the amount of opportunities, Brian, I'm sure it's the same for you, but the amount of opportunities that I've had through just sharing content, and sharing my thoughts,
Oh yeah.
sharing things that work for me, because I'm not in a specific niche as a developer of, how to be a bit better React
Hmm.
developer, or how to write create database or things like that. I just speak about mindset and growth, similar to how you also a bit more agnostic, but more speaking about early stage or developers or career switches or
Hmm.
things like that, right? Um, so
That's
that
right.
allows me to reach a bit more people, because I'm not, my niche is not a specific technology. My niche is a specific mindset, and I think that's allowed me to kind of connect with a lot of people. And yeah, it's just been so, like, I would never have been able to have all the good conversations and shared advice we've given one another if I hadn't started,
Oh yeah.
on LinkedIn initially. I've had so many amazing friendships form, and just awesome personal opportunities, just because I was sharing my experience, my thoughts, and my approaches, and it resonated with people.
It's amazing how that works, isn't it? I say this on the show a few times. I didn't take that seriously at first. I started writing. I didn't really know where it was going to take me, and it's been the single biggest magnifier for my career of anything I could have imagined. And not only that, I've met really cool
Mm,
people like you. I met another dude that's in Australia who I'm thinking of doing a business with, and we actually met up in LA when he was in town.
Okay.
I've just met up. I've made like real connections. Like if you were ever in the States, like we'd hook up and go do something too.
100%.
If I was ever in South Africa, we'd go hang out
Definitely.
because it's just cool the people you meet. But that's but the consistency thing, that is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest blocker for most people. I wish I had like some magical advice or something like, here's how you be consistent. But I don't know. I just know that you have to be, because you're right. Like you can have these wild ups and downs. You can write for the first, 100 posts. Actually, I didn't really have any traction. And then eventually a few hit. They hit, like I had a few big posts just like you had, and those like get most of your followers, or somebody reposts you and you get these big influxes of followers, and you get these nice messages from people who say, wow, what I'm doing is working. But imagine if I'd stopped on like post 99, or
Yeah.
imagine if you had stopped after that second post. You're like, oh, well, that was a fluke. Guess I'm done here. And then you would never get all the benefits from it. I know that you should have a bit of a formula for writing. I'm assuming you must.
Yes.
Could you just briefly share, like, what is your formula for writing that maybe somebody that's new could benefit from hearing?
There's so many different parts to it. Like there's a super, I guess, technical parts of copywriting that, in terms of how long a sentence is, impacts how long people may read because their eyes adjust accordingly. Or if you're doing a listicle, generally always have the list either descending or ascending in terms of the length of every line, as in it's making this like angled kind of list or something.
Yes.
Like simple things like that. It's psychologically more appealing, and it makes it easier for people to read because they feel like they're going either up a slope or down a slope. Whereas if it's long line, longer line, short line, longer line, people struggle to read it. It's crazy.
It is crazy, yeah.
There's two parts in terms of creating content. So I'll chat about that real quick. Coming up with ideas of things that you want to share. First part is write it down on a piece of paper or use Notion or something. I have all my stuff in Notion. Of these are the topics that I can speak about. And by speak about, I mean you can have a good conversation about this for 30 minutes or just speak about whatever, right? That you are somewhat of an authority on that, or you're learning to become an authority on that. So let's say for most software developers, for some it might be, I know Agile, I know React, I know JavaScript. Let's say that's what they have kind of championed. Then go out there and just consume content intentionally with the sole purpose of finding templates, patterns, and trends. So go on Twitter, go on LinkedIn, go on Instagram if that's where you're going to post, but I'll speak it more to like the LinkedIn because obviously that's where we play mostly. But go find LinkedIn posts that have done well, and you will be able to see a pattern there. And obviously it's not, some people write super long form content like a blog post or something. I'm excluding that because that really just comes down to your audience really wanting to engage with what you're saying. It's not going to, we're specifically speaking about now somewhat creating virility through how you've styled your post and copywriting essentially. Go find examples of how they structure it. So, like what I remember, one of the first ones that I saw was a good junior marketer with 3 bullet points, bad junior marketer, 3 bullet points, bottom line of saying like, be the good one for these reasons. And you go, okay, cool. Take that. That is a template. Take that, throw it into a file where you have templates. Then come up with a bunch of different templates. Then go look at them and look at the things that you know. And you go, cool, I can speak about React. Let's look at this template from the perspective of React. Okay, good React developer. What should they have? Blah, blah, blah. Bad React developer. What do they have? Blah, blah, blah. You know, be the better React developer, or be the modern React developer. Don't be left behind.
There you go.
Something like that, right? That is an approach to quickly and effectively sit down for an hour and a half a week, and you can write 30, 40 pieces of content incredibly quickly because you're just going, you're thinking about React, or you're thinking about JavaScript that's going around in your head, and then you're just looking at this template to go, okay, cool, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank. And that's super fast instead of trying to sit it down every day and kind of hoping for motivation or inspiration. Systemize it and put a spot in your calendar that goes content creation.
Yep.
or content session, I have a bunch of different focus sessions throughout the week of different things that I need to focus on. That's how you do it. Make the time, because otherwise you'll never get to it. And then it's super simple. From there, it's just trial and error. You just figure it out. You create more. You try different posts. You see what resonates. You try different topics. You see, more people are not enjoying my React stuff. Maybe I need to learn a bit more about that. So maybe I'll focus on the JavaScript. Or people really like when I do lists, and those are doing super well. What are other type of lists that I can create? I think that is the approach that worked for me. Just invest the time now in a system or in a methodology or an approach so that it becomes easier down the line. But it's really not as complicated as people make it out to be. And like you said, Brian, it's the best multiplier. If you don't do it, or you'll sit at 1, right?
Yeah,
You're
sure.
1 of 1. You make a post, you make 99 posts like you said you did, and you're still sitting at 1. And then the 100th post gets to some form of multiplier, and you go, oh, actually my career now is maybe sitting at a 1.1 suddenly. And all I invested was time, consistent time, which ultimately will make you a better writer overall. I mean, I'm pretty proud of the quality of the emails that I write. And I've gotten compliments from clients before saying, like, your emails are so well structured and so to the point and super valuable. And it's not because I've sent 10,000 emails or something. It's because I learned how to copyright and how people read and are attracted to information. And that's all that it is. So even if you go, I invested my time and I just don't feel like I'm getting anything out of it, trust me, it'll make you a better writer in emails, it'll make you a better writer in messages, and it'll probably make you a better speaker because you will be thinking about things in a very different approach.
Oh yeah, I've totally, my mind has been transformed. I wrote all the time, and then I learned from what you said. Honestly, I've used most of what you've said, most of the same tactics. Seen what works, seen what draws eyeballs, and realized it's not the information I'm giving away that people don't find interesting. It's the way I'm saying it. I was saying things in a dry, boring way, and I was writing these really long technical articles, and they weren't structured well, and people wouldn't read them. The moment I switched that around, now I've kind of found a formula for what works based on what I've seen works for other people. And now I've had basically all my viral pieces have been the last 2 years. I've been writing for about 9 years online.
Wow.
And I've seen all the progress really in the last 2 after doing much of what you just said. That was incredibly good advice. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your story, copywriting, business. People already know where to find you online. They can find you on LinkedIn. I'm going to have links, though, to your book and LinkedIn. Any other platform they should be checking for you on?
Not yet. We are in the process now of properly launching basically converting my personal Instagram, which I'll still share personal things, but actually extending that to be a repeater and kind of getting over I'm a developer, I'm a business owner, that is a part of me, and I'm going to share that on there, as well as on Twitter, as well as we have a new podcast coming out, more focused on origin and product building, but I'd love to have you on that as well to get your take on building products and working with founders and what they should look out for and things like that, as well as more newsletters and long-form interviews and all these sorts of things. So for now, if you're following me on LinkedIn, you will see everything else pretty soon. So there's a lot of exciting things happening.
I can't wait to see this, man. Very cool. Well, thanks again, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I would love to come back anytime if you want to dive deeper. We did like a Harley story, business story content. If you want to dive deep on something specific, I'm here for it.
I'm down. In fact, if you're listening to this and you have a suggestion, let me know. See you around. That'll do it for today's episode of the Develop Yourself podcast. If you're serious about switching careers and becoming a software developer and building complex software and want to work directly with me and my team, go to Parsity.io. And if you want more information, feel free to schedule a chat by just clicking the link in the show notes. See you next week.